Hello everyone and welcome back to IMO Reviews. Today we are discussing Moonage Daydream. Moonage Daydream is a kaleidoscopic documentary that focuses in on the thoughts and feelings of the man that was David Bowie and the staggering impact his work has had on the world. But before we go any further, could you please be a dear? Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really does make all the difference to the channel. We've very recently just passed 300 subs. And we are on the road to 500, so please do hit those magic buttons down below, and we thank you if you do. Let's get into the positives of Moonage Daydream. I absolutely loved the approach to this documentary. It isn't linear, it's more of a collage, a montage, almost a painting of a life where it zooms in on the details of several brushstrokes, and that suits Bowie down to the ground. He is one of the most creative, genius minds of our lifetime. A man who kicked down doors in sexuality, fashion, rock and roll, acting, art, and much, much more. The man is a walking Jackson Pollock painting, and delivering it in the style of one made it feel more tangible and real to me. It felt like I was taking a 2-hour random walk around inside the mind of David Bowie, and I loved that, and it completely washed over me as an absolutely stunning cinematic experience. It made the guy human, and it brought his thoughts and fears to reality without you even realising it. He talks about his love of chaos and how he feels it's wrong of humanity to be scared of it and to close it out of our lives. And suddenly you realise that the storytelling of this documentary has been exactly that. Chaotic, again offering something really personal about it. I also resonated with a lot of what he said about the world, life, art, emotions, feelings. It sounds pretentious to say that I saw myself within Bowie, but I honestly think everyone will come out of this feeling that in some way. One line in particular really hit me to a point that I very nearly choked up. He mentions being shy as a child and feeling like he had nowhere to fit in and often avoiding people. And yet you listen to his lyrics and you look at his artwork and his philosophy of life, and for a man who deemed himself quite alien, he really understood what it was to be a human. And it's within that blending of making him human, all while still seeing his impact, is what brought it all together for me. The realisation that despite all this incredible stuff that he's done that feels like pure magic and stardust, he's just a guy. Just a guy who didn't fit in and made it work anyway, in whichever outlet he could find. And to think that he's no longer with us only added to that impact. As crazy as the world is today, we really could do with a Bowie right now. Now, my cons for this documentary are not so much for me. If you can't tell, I absolutely bloody loved it. But my cons are more for the layman, the average guy who's just looking for something to watch this weekend. And ultimately, I do think it depends on how much you know about Bowie as to how much you're going to enjoy this documentary. Some of the footage might be wasted on you or have less of an impact if you aren't aware of some of his other works, like The Man Who Fell to Earth, or in his early days when he was working with the Spiders. And if you are a complete rookie and know nothing about Bowie, you might be more inclined to find something that's a little bit more linear and factual in its storytelling. It's not that you don't get those moments in this documentary, it's just that it's not really the focus here. This feels very much more interested in trying to understand the man himself. It does very heavily rely upon its audience already knowing what's happening, the time in his life, and what happened around this time. And the documentary doesn't cover everything. As I mentioned earlier, it would be pretty impossible to do so. But that isn't going to work for everybody. Some people might be annoyed that their favourite David Bowie song isn't played here. Thankfully, that wasn't me. 4 of my favourite Bowie songs were played here, so big thumbs up for me. But if you're a fan of songs like Starman, you might be feeling a little bit shortchanged because it's just not in here. And if you're wondering, Moonage Daydream, Ashes to Ashes, Heroes, Modern Love. I'm going to give Moonage Daydream a 10 out of 10. I don't know if I'm just in a really good mood lately or if we are just getting some superb stuff being released in cinema right now, because I feel like I've given out so many 10s lately. But I also recognise that this isn't going to work for everybody. It certainly will for the Bowie fans, and I also think it will work for the average person who's just looking for something different, something that breaks the mould, because this documentary absolutely does that. I loved it. I just sat back and let it wash over me, and my thoughts and feelings towards the documentary have only heightened and deepened the more I've sat with it. I am absolutely recommending this one for you. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and please do hit the comment section as well. Have you seen Moonage Daydream? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.